Part 2 of my humble submission for Mr. Wendell et al. Part 2 of selection from a native hill for our favorite Kentucky boy. I began my life as the old times and the last of the old time people were dying out. The Depression and World War II delayed the mechanization of the farms here. And one of the first disciples imposed on me was that of a teamster. Perhaps I first stood in the role of student before my father's father, who, halting a team in front of me, would demand to know which mule had the best head, which the best shoulder or rump, which was the lead mule, were they hitched right? And there came a time when I knew and took a considerable pride in knowing. Having a boy's usual desire to play at what he sees men working at, I learned to harness and hitch and work a team. I felt distinguished by that and took the same pride in it that other boys my age took in their knowledge of automobiles. I seemed to have been born with an aptitude for a way of life that was doomed, although I did not understand that at the time. Free of any intuition of its doom, I delighted in it and learned all I could about it. That knowledge and the men who gave it to me influenced me deeply. It entered my imagination and gave it substance and tone to my mind. It fashioned in me possibilities and limits, desires and frustrations that I do not expect to live to the end of. It is strange to think how barely in the nick of time it came to me. If I had been born 5 years later, I would have begun in a different world and would no doubt have become a different man. Those 5 years made a critical difference in my life, and it is a historical difference. One of the results is that in my generation, I am something of an anachronism. I am less a child of my time than the people of my age who grew up in the cities, or than the people who grew up here in my own place 5 years after I did. In my acceptance of 20th century realities, there has had to be a certain deliberateness, whereas most of my contemporaries had them simply by being born to them. In my teens, when I was away at school, I could comfort myself by recalling in intricate detail the fields I had worked and played in and hunted over and ridden through on horseback, and that were richly associated in my mind with people and with stories. I could recall even in the casual locations of certain small rocks. I could recall the look of 100 different kinds of daylight on all those places, the look of animals grazing over them, the postures and attitudes and movements of the men who worked in them, the quality of the grass and the crops that had grown on them. I had come to be aware of it as one is aware of one's body. It was present to me whether I thought of it or not. When I have thought of the welfare of the earth, the problems of its health and preservation, the care of its life, I have had this place before me, the part representing the whole more vividly and accurately, making clearer and more pressing demands than any idea of the whole. When I have thought of kindness or cruelty, weariness or exuberance, devotion or betrayal, carelessness or care, doggedness or awkwardness or grace, I have had in my mind's eye the men and women of this place, their faces and gestures and movements.